So UK passport is generally considered as a very good passport. However, in case that you combine it with some other passport, you would have more visa-free travel access, more stability. You can have it as a plan B, you can live in various places and so on. So let's discuss that today. Hey there, it's Irina from Nomad Capitalist. During the last couple of years, I've been helping our clients to get their second residency, second citizenship, to reduce their taxes, to incorporate companies, open bank accounts, and many more things. In case that we can do the same for you, go out on our website and get in touch with our team. So UK passport is again generally considered as a very good passport. It is ranked as 5th on the passport index, and it is there together with some other countries such as Japan, New Zealand, Czech Republic, Greece, and so on. Some of the benefits that other countries on this list have is that they are a part of the European Union, meaning that they can live anywhere within the European Union without the need for a specific visa. Now, ever since UK left the European Union, that has obviously been an issue. So you cannot really now go to any European Union country and decide to live there and so on, because there are some special procedures and special visas that you need to apply in order to obviously do that. Today we're going to discuss some of the passports actually that you can combine your UK passport with and simply have the best visa-free travel access, that you can live in other countries, and so on. Before we dig into that, let's discuss why would someone from the UK seek for a second passport. My answers will be based on really reasonings on why a citizen of any country would need a second passport. So apart from the visa-free travel access, which again, we're not just looking at the visa-free travel access, but also where you can live. What I mentioned with the European Union early on was an issue. And I, for a fact, know a couple of UK citizens who have been, well, just before the UK decided to exit the European Union, just escaped to some other country in the EU. So again, apart from the EU thing, of course, there is a visa-free travel access. After that, we have a taxation. I want to mention it just because we've all seen that a lot of countries around the world are making changes in terms of the taxes, whether that is just, for example, the UAE thing with 9% tax, or whether that is Malaysia changing their tax system, or so on. So we all know what happened to the US. We all know how US taxes their citizens, and we all know that there is no way for you to escape it if in case that you're from the US. Obviously there are, but limited. So what you want to do is to secure yourself. Just in case that UK really decides to do the same thing, and well, UK is kind of following, whatever the US, for example, does and so on. So, I would recommend having the second passport just in case UK decides to change their taxation system or anything like that. You have a second passport that you can rely on. Apart from that, there are different reasons, which are obviously some of the stability, having a plan B, and so on. So we're going to mention 3 countries today. However, there are more, of course, but I want to focus on what is realistic for you, on what you can actually get. So to give you an example, number 1 country that you can combine with your UK passport and have the best visa-free travel access, for example, would be UAE. However, we all know that getting the UAE passport is extremely difficult, and chances are probably, 1% in 100% to obviously get it. So, for example, in case that you want to get the UAE passport, you would need to live in the UAE legally, obviously, with a visa for 30 or so years in order to get naturalized. Of course, if you have ancestors from there, specifically for the paternal side, then you can get the UAE passport. However, I don't think that, in terms of taxes, UAE has been pretty good, but I don't think that, you would wait 30 years to get the passport. There are a lot of things that can change in the UK, and you might need a second passport urgently, so UAE may not serve that, obviously. So a couple of passports that I will mention today would be something that you can get realistically. So in a short period of time, or obviously less than 30 years, like in UAE case. And number 1 would be Spain. So with Spanish passport and the UK passport, you would have 90% of the world covered when it comes to visa-free travel access. In addition to this, you would have access to Russia and China with the Spanish passport. And outside of that, don't forget the EU thing. So if you get the Spanish passport, you can live freely within the European Union. You can live in any country. And obviously, again, you have it as a plan B option, and you're having it because of the taxation thing, of course. So how you can get the Spanish citizenship, there is a Spanish Golden Visa program. And for you to be eligible for it, you would need to invest 500,000 euros into real estate, or 1 million in company shares, or to deposit 1 million in the bank, or 2 million in bonds. So after you do this, then after that, you would need to live in Spain for at least 6 months each year in order to be eligible for citizenship, and you can apply for citizenship after the period of 10 years. So again, it is still long, and it still takes some time to actually get that Spanish citizenship that you've been waiting for. However, again, with that, you would have 90% of the world covered. When it comes to the application process for Spanish Golden Visa, it is relatively easy. They are processing their applications pretty fast, and the only couple of things that you would actually need to get is, apart from, passport, an ID card, and proof of address, and those things, you would need to get, obviously, the police clearance from your country of origin. And apart from that, you would need to obviously have the proof of investment. Again, either real estate or bonds or company shares and so on. Apart from that, there are two things as well that you would need to get, and that is proof that you have a health insurance, whether that is in Spain or out or international one or anything. And another thing is that apart from making an investment, you would need to as well prove that you have an income on your bank account to sustain yourself while living in Spain. So there is no specific amount that is mentioned there. However, obviously, the more you have, the better. They're asking for some kind of stable income. It's not the stable income that you have the same amount every month. However, they're asking you, the more dependents obviously you have as well, the number you would need to have more on your bank account. However, why is that? Well, that's simply because Spain asks you to spend 6 months there in a year in order to be eligible for citizenship and so on. So they kind of need to see that you won't be a burden to their country, right? So that was Spain, and we touched base on Portugal as well, which still is not that of a bad option. The next country that I want to mention would be Turkey. If you're in a rush of getting your second passport, if you want to get it as soon as possible, just so that you can be safe, you don't have to worry later in case that they change their taxation system or anything like that, Turkey would be a great option because you can go straight to citizenship. With the Turkish passport, you also have 90% of the world covered when it comes to visa-free travel access. You also have an access to China and Russia, for example, and Iran. However, obviously, you don't have the same right as you would have in case that you're a citizen of Spain, which is to live in the EU. However, with the UK passport, you get the visa-free travel to the EU and so on. With the Turkey one, you kind of get that Asian side, Russia, China, and so on. The citizenship process takes approximately 5 to 6 months maximum. What you would have to do is, I will mention the most popular option, that's to invest in real estate in worth of $400,000. Or you can make a deposit in the bank. However, that deposit needs to be in Turkish lira, which is a bit unstable. So that's why it's not the most popular option. However, that apartment that you purchase in Turkey, you can rent it out, get a passive income from it, and that's pretty much it. So the application process is not that complicated. Actually, it kind of is, but Turkey is one that does not ask you to obtain every single document that you have. They're simply asking you for your birth certificate, marriage certificate, passport copy, proof of address, tax ID. That's pretty much it. So they're not asking for a whole list of documents like, for example, Caribbean would ask for. So how the process is going. You get the Turkish tax ID number, you open a bank account, you purchase the property, for example. You get something that is called conformity certificate, which is the proof that your real estate is qualified for citizenship. You apply for residency, you wait for residency for approximately a month, and then you apply for a passport, and you wait for approximately 2 to 3 months for your passport to be approved. And that's pretty much it. So again, Turkey would be a very good option in case that you're not really interested in living in the EU or anything, but you actually want to get your passport as soon as possible to have it as a plan B option. And the final passport that I will mention today, and again, we're focusing on those that you can realistically get, right? So that would be Malta. Malta would be pretty expensive, and I would focus a bit more on either Turkey or Portugal or Spain, for example. Malta is considered a bit not as good passport as, for example, Spain. However, you also get an access to the EU. You get it faster than you would get the Spanish passport, so that's why I'm mentioning it. So in case that your main goal is, to really have plan B, but also to be able to move to the EU and to live there without any specific visa, and you want to get it as soon as possible, Malta would be the best option. So application process can either take a year or 3 years. Obviously, with the documentation gathering and so on, it takes a bit longer. However, it's still much faster than, for example, Portugal or Spain. Turkey is still the fastest one out there. However, again, Turkey is not in the EU, right? So when it comes to Malta, it can be pretty expensive. We're looking at, 1 million investment or so. The application for residency process is not that complicated. However, after the residency process, you're going through something that's called the eligibility stage. During that stage, you're gathering a lot of documents. And the main thing that the Malta really wants to know is the source of funds document. So from where you get your money, basically. And Malta obviously has a very restricted due diligence process, just because EU is really looking at them because, well, they've been giving EU passports. So we've all seen how some other programs such as Cyprus, Bulgaria, and so on got canceled. Then Malta doesn't want, obviously they don't want to do the same thing. So they have a bit of a strict due diligence process. These are all of the countries that I will mention today. Again, there are more countries out there where you can get your second citizenship. However, again, those are not realistic. Like the UAE, I won't mention the countries where you really need to spend 30 or so years living there in order to get the passport. So that's it. Hope that you liked it. Click a subscribe button below and check out some of our other videos where you can as well see, some of the latest news in the immigration world, in the offshore world, and so on. Thanks for watching.